Chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That feeling in your spirit, the one that's been unsettled for days, the one you keep trying to rationalize away, stop running from it. They are coming, and they will arrive with no warning. Not a signal, not a sign, not a countdown, just a sudden shift in the atmosphere around your life that will make everything before this moment make sense. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason, and one reason only. He knows who is about to walk into your life. He knows what is about to be restored, and his only strategy right now is to make you disqualify yourself before the arrival. It all changes without announcement. The door does not knock. The blessing does not schedule itself. The people, the opportunities, the open heavens, they arrive the moment you stop looking for them. But here is what I need you to hear right now, and I need you to hear it clearly. This is not random. This is not a coincidence. The reason they are coming is because of what you have already done. You did not find this recording by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment scheduled before the foundations of the earth. You are standing at a threshold that your prayers built. Stay until the very last second of this message. In the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you the spiritual decree that confirms who is already in motion toward your life. I'm going to walk you through the exact moment this week where you unknowingly activated this arrival. And at the end, I'm going to give you the declaration that seals this season and opens the gate. Do not click away. Your future self is begging you to stay, because if you leave now, you leave before you understand why everything that felt like loss was actually preparation. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. There has been a strange quiet, not peaceful, but suspended, like the world around you has been holding its breath. Maybe you were lying in bed this week, staring at the ceiling at 3:00 in the morning, running through every decision you have made in the last few months, wondering where everything went sideways. Or maybe you were sitting alone, surrounded by people, and still feeling completely invisible, like you were present in the room but absent from your own life. You feel like you're waiting for something you cannot name. Like you are standing in a hallway between two seasons, and neither door has opened yet. And in that hallway, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. He has been telling you that the reason no one has shown up, the reason things have been so still, the reason the connections and the breakthroughs feel delayed, is because of something you did. He has been replaying that moment in your mind. Maybe it was the moment you pulled back from someone you cared about. Maybe it was the moment you said nothing when you could have spoken. Maybe it was the moment you chose your peace over the chaos and walked away. The accuser is telling you that departure disqualified you. He is telling you that because you chose silence, because you chose stillness, because you chose not to fight, the people and the promises that were meant for you changed course. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." Listen to that promise. All things, not the comfortable things, not the victories, all things, including the silence, including the withdrawal, including the moment you walked away. Every single thing has been working together, not against you, together for you. The enemy wants you to believe that your stillness scattered what was meant for you, but that is a deception. Your stillness did not delay the arrival. Your stillness cleared the path for it. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of abandonment. It is the weight of imminent arrival. It is the pressure that exists in the atmosphere right before something that has been traveling a long distance finally lands. You think that moment when you went quiet was weakness. You think choosing peace over war cost you something irreplaceable. But let me reframe your reality right now. That was not retreat. That was positioning. And the ones who are coming, They were always coming. They were rerouted, refined, and released. And they are arriving not in spite of your silence. They are arriving because of it. Hit the like button if this message found you at exactly the right moment. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is one thing you have been quietly waiting for that you have almost given up believing is still on its way? What you just heard wasn't entertainment, it was confirmation. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Chosen One's blueprint will show you exactly why God separated you before birth, why the attacks came so early, and what He's unlocking in this season. You'll also get the full audiobook version and a powerful bonus, activating your prophet mantle. For those carrying a prophetic fire they haven't yet learned to release. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment, but not for long. Now let's go deeper into what's actually happening in this moment of your life. There is a reason the silence has felt so specific. Not general quietness, but a targeted, almost surgical stillness that seems to have settled over every area you've been believing for. Your relationships, your finances, your calling, your health. It all went quiet at the same time. This isn't just a lull in the storm. It's a deliberate cessation of all the usual background noise, a sudden hush that has brought a jarring halt to the rhythm of your expectations. This kind of synchronized stillness is not random. It is not punishment from an angry God. It is, in fact, an intricate, highly sensitive preparation at a level so precise that only heaven could orchestrate it. Imagine a celestial conductor with baton raised, holding every instrument in perfect, profound repose. Not because the concert is over, but because the most majestic movement is about to begin. This divine pause is not meant to signify abandonment, but rather a meticulous arrangement of circumstances for a grand unveiling. It is a sacred space, often misunderstood, where God is actively working behind the curtain of your perception. Think about what happens in nature right before rain. There's a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The very air thickens, heavy with unspoken promise. The frenetic dance of the wind ceases, settling into an expectant calm. The cheerful chorus of birds, usually a constant symphony, falls silent as if in reverence. Everything pauses, not because nothing is happening, but because something enormous, something life-giving and transformative is about to happen. The pause is not the absence of movement. The pause is the gathering of it. It's the accumulation of energy, the condensation of purpose, the quiet accretion of all the necessary elements for an outpouring. That is exactly what this silence in your life has been. Every area that went quiet did so because God was not only gathering what belongs to you, but intricately aligning it all to arrive in the same glorious season. He is drawing together the missing pieces, the divine connections, the financial streams, the healing balm, the open doors, all converging at the perfect predestined moment, ensuring that when the breakthrough comes, it will be complete, comprehensive, and undeniable. Like a master craftsman meticulously arranging his tools and materials before commencing a masterpiece, God is setting the stage for your next magnificent chapter. But here is where it goes deeper. Because the silence alone isn't what's been difficult. It's what you've been doing inside the silence. You've been interpreting it, and the interpretation has been the battlefield. The mind, in its inherent design, does not rest in uncertainty. It abhors a vacuum. It relentlessly seeks to fill the gap, to assign meaning where none is immediately apparent. And what it fills that gap with determines everything. If you allow fear to rush into that unexplained silence, you begin to operate from a place of anticipated defeat. You start to behave like someone who has already been abandoned, even though the hand of God is meticulously at work behind the scenes. You begin to pull back from your dreams before they have a chance to pull back from you, preemptively retreating from a potential future. You start rehearsing the disappointment before it even arrives, constructing elaborate mental armor against a blow that was never coming, thereby wasting precious spiritual energy on imagined battles. And in doing that, you create a spiritual posture that looks, on the outside, like peace, a quiet, composed exterior. But on the inside is a profound, quiet despair, dressed in the deceptive cloak of resignation. This internal monologue, this self-defeating narrative, becomes the insidious script by which you govern your actions, unknowingly pushing away the very blessings that God has meticulously arranged for your arrival. This is where many lose their way, not in the external circumstance, but in the internal narrative they adopt. This is the hidden trap, not the visible outward attack from external forces. Those often serve to strengthen our resolve. No, the true danger lies in the agreement you make inside the silence, the subtle concessions to doubt and despair that happen in the unseen chambers of your heart. Think of the prophet Elijah. After the most powerful, undeniable demonstration of divine fire on Mount Carmel, after calling down heaven itself to consume the sacrifice in front of all Israel, humiliating the prophets of Baal and turning the hearts of a nation back to God, within moments of that earth-shattering victory, he ran. He fled from the mere threat of a woman, Jezebel. He sat under a solitary juniper tree in the desolate wilderness, overwhelmed by a sudden, crushing weariness, and said, "It is enough. I am no better than my fathers. Take my life." Here was a man who had just stood unwavering against 450 prophets of Baal, a man through whom God had just moved with such undeniable, raw authority that fire descended from the sky. And within one chapter, he was hiding in the wilderness, convinced he was utterly alone, the last prophet left, and that death was preferable to continuing his divine mandate. What happened? The profound silence that followed the deafening roar of victory became louder, more intimidating and more convincing than the victory itself. And in that silence, devoid of the immediate tangible evidence of God's power, the enemy whispered an identity crisis so convincing, so insidious, that Elijah momentarily forgot who he was, forgot whose power flowed through him, and forgot the very God who had just answered him with fire. He became fixated on the silence and the fear rather than the fresh memory of divine intervention. You are not in a different story, my friend. You are in the same one. The dynamics, the spiritual warfare, the internal battle are all ancient echoes of the same human experience. And just like God did not condemn Elijah in the cave, he met him there, not with a thunderous rebuke, but with a gentle voice, with miraculous provision of food and water, with profound restorative rest, and with a fresh, revitalizing assignment. He is not condemning you in your silence either. He is meeting you in it. He is tending to your weary soul, feeding you with spiritual sustenance and preparing your spirit for the next wave of his glory. He is about to hand you a new assignment, one born out of this period of intense formation. And just as he patiently reminded Elijah that he was not alone, revealing that there were 7,000 who had not bowed their knees to Baal, there are people in your life and in your future who have been preserved, who have been prepared by God's own hand, and who are even now being meticulously positioned toward you. These are not random encounters, they are divine appointments, strategically arranged to coincide with your emergence from this season. They are fellow laborers, spiritual allies, destiny helpers, and profound connections orchestrated by the precise timing of heaven. And this brings us to something most people miss entirely, a profound truth often overlooked in our human-centric view of spiritual progress. The ones who are coming into your life in this next season are not coming to complete what you couldn't finish, as if you were somehow deficient. They are coming rather because you did finish something profoundly significant that you didn't even realize was a test. You pass something vital in the hiddenness, in the unseen crucible of your private life. You chose integrity when absolutely no one was watching, when the temptation for compromise was strong and the immediate reward for honesty seemed non-existent. You chose prayer when praise felt utterly impossible, when your spirit was weighed down by weariness and doubt, and yet you still knelt or cried out or whispered in the stillness. You chose to keep your heart soft and pliable, even when every crushing experience, every betrayal, every disappointment around you was trying desperately to calcify it, to harden it into an impenetrable shell of bitterness. These weren't small, insignificant moments. These were seismic spiritual choices, and heaven registers every single one of them. They don't just disappear into the atmosphere like forgotten whispers. They become the very spiritual currency that purchases, that activates, that makes room for what's coming next. Your faithfulness in the shadows is being honored in the light of the approaching season. Coming up, there is a specific, immutable spiritual pattern that explains why the people God sends into your life always, without fail, arrive in the aftermath of your deepest isolation. Stay with me, because this is the part that will utterly reframe everything you've been calling delay, shifting your perception from frustration to divine strategy. But first, this has to land with the weight it deserves. Most people, driven by discomfort and impatience, spend their entire preparation season trying to exit it prematurely. They grow intensely uncomfortable with the waiting, the stillness, the lack of immediate visible progress. And in their anxiety, they start to manufacture movement. They force connections that were not yet ready, prematurely pushing doors that were meant to remain closed. They accept open doors that were not opened by God, simply to alleviate the excruciating feeling of standing still, of being overlooked, and in doing so, they bypass the very refinement, the essential molding and shaping that was making them ready to steward the magnificent things that were truly coming. Think of Jacob wrestling with the angel all through the night at the ford of Jabbok. He didn't let go until morning, enduring physical pain and spiritual exertion. And the blessing, the name change from Jacob, deceiver, to Israel, prince with God, came not in the middle of the wrestling, not when he was still striving in his own strength. It came at the point of surrender, at the breaking of his hip, at the moment Jacob was willing to say, "I will not let you go until you bless me and speak identity over me." The blessing required the entire night, the entire dark, disorienting, agonizing, exhausting night, stretching every fiber of his being, stripping him of his old identity and preparing him for a new covenant. His transformation was not instant. It was forged in the crucible of that long, arduous night. Your night, filled with its own wrestling and searching, is almost over. And once that profoundly simple, yet revolutionary truth clicks, once it truly resonates deep within your spirit, everything shifts. Because now you understand that the isolation you've endured was not a sign of rejection. It was, in fact, a powerful act of divine selection. God does not put just anyone through the kind of deep, intense, and often painful preparation you've been in. The deeper the purpose He has for your life, the more thorough and rigorous the preparation must be. The more weight, the more impact, the more significance the anointing carries, the longer and more intense the firing process takes. Consider a ceramic vessel, a simple decorative piece, painted and placed on a shelf, requires very little heat to set its superficial glaze. But a vessel made to carry something truly sacred, something scalding hot, something holy, something that must not leak or shatter under pressure. That vessel must go into the kiln at an extraordinary temperature, a heat that would utterly destroy anything not built for its sacred purpose. You, my friend, have been in that kiln. You have endured the intense heat of transformation, the pressure of refinement, the silent, slow reshaping. and the undeniable fact that you are still here, that you have not shattered, that your faith, though perhaps bruised and weary, is not gone, that your hope, though it may feel thin and stretched, is still miraculously present. That in itself is the undeniable proof that you were specifically built, meticulously designed, and divinely ordained for what is coming. You are not a fragile ornament. You are a sturdy vessel, prepared to hold the very glory of God. Now, here is where what's coming next will likely surprise you, because most people never think to ask this seemingly counterintuitive question. Why do the God-sent connections, the divine appointments, and the critical breakthroughs in your life always seem to arrive the very moment you finally stop obsessing over their arrival? It's not a mere cliché or spiritual platitude. There is a profound spiritual principle deeply woven underneath this phenomenon. When you are in the posture of desperate need, when your sense of worth, your identity, and your future are suspended, waiting for another person, another opportunity, or another external validation to confirm it, you are not actually positioned to purely receive what God is sending. Instead, you are, perhaps unknowingly, positioned to consume it. You are looking to fill a void within yourself, to extract from the blessing what you believe you lack. And God, in His infinite wisdom and boundless love, loves you far too much to release something holy, something vital to His kingdom purposes, into a moment of spiritual consumption. He waits. He patiently waits until you have, through your journey of isolation and self-discovery, rediscovered your own wholeness in Him, until your identity is firmly rooted in Christ alone, not because the blessing must be earned, for His grace is freely given, but because you must be able to hold it, to steward it, to cherish it without inadvertently destroying it through misplaced need or unhealthy attachment. Think of the women in Elisha's miracle, the widow whose oil multiplied. She was told to gather empty vessels, as many as she could find, and then, crucially, to close the door. The miraculous oil multiplied only in the private, in the quiet, in the closed-off room, away from the scrutiny and expectations of the outside world. Your isolation, that period of profound stillness, was precisely that closed room. And what you are carrying, the anointing, the wisdom, the spiritual oil, has been miraculously multiplying inside it, out of sight, preparing for its outpouring. Coming up, the unexpected, transformative truth about why the very thing you've been mourning as your greatest loss, the deepest cut in your soul, may actually be the most precise, strategic, and loving thing God has ever done for you. Don't go anywhere. This will shift your perspective on everything. But before we get there, you need to understand this with absolute clarity. There has been a subtle counterfeit voice speaking in this season, a deceptive whisper that sounds exactly like wisdom. It speaks in the persuasive language of protection, cloaking its true intent in a guise of caution. It says things that seem reasonable, like, "Be careful, don't hope too much," or "You've been here before, remember the pain." It sounds measured. It sounds mature, like the voice of someone who has been hurt enough times to know better, to wisely avoid future disappointment. But what it actually is fear that has learned to dress itself eloquently in the language of discernment. It's a cunning imposter. Real, authentic spiritual discernment does not close your heart to protect it, thereby shutting out potential blessings. Real discernment, rather, sharpens your spiritual senses to recognize with precision what is truly from God and what is not. And then, critically, it remains courageously open, vulnerable, and receptive to what is divine. The version of protection that advocates for shutting everything out, for building impenetrable walls around your heart, for retreating from risk, is not wisdom. It is, in its truest form, a deep-seated wound wearing a mask, subtly dictating your future from a place of past pain. And until you courageously name that distinction, until you shine the light of truth on this subtle deception, you will tragically keep using your pain as an unconscious filter for your future. And in doing so, you will inadvertently filter out exactly what God is sending, mistaking His new beginnings for old hurts. And here is the real turning point, the profound revelation that will transform your understanding of your journey. The people, the opportunities, the seasons that have walked out of your life in this period, and I say this with full love and spiritual conviction, were not all losses. Some of them, perhaps many of them, were strategic removals. God does not always take things from you as punishment, as a punitive measure for some perceived failing. Sometimes, and often most powerfully, He takes them away as an act of profound preservation. Sometimes the relationship that ended, the friendship that faded into silence, the door that closed with such finality, those were not the enemy working tirelessly against your destiny. On the contrary, those were God, with divine precision, actively creating a necessary vacancy. Because what He is powerfully sending into your life next, the magnitude of the blessing, the sacredness of the connection, the elevation of the assignment, simply cannot coexist with what was there. And until that space was meticulously cleared, until the old patterns and attachments were gently but firmly moved aside, the arrival of the new could not fully begin. Think of Ruth. She lost a husband, a homeland, and every semblance of a future she had meticulously planned for herself. She walked into what looked like utter desolation, a foreign land, a desolate field. And it was in that profound desolation, in the barren fields of a foreign country, gleaning the meager leftovers, seemingly invisible to everyone except the one man whose gaze truly mattered, that her divine connection walked past her. Boaz did not find her at her best, at her most confident or prosperous. He found her at what appeared to be her lowest point, a widow, a foreigner, laboring for scraps. And yet, that lowest, most vulnerable place was the exact, divinely ordained geography of her redemption, the precise coordinates where her destiny intersected with her kinsman redeemer. Your lowest place, the season you felt most barren or overlooked, is not the wrong location. It is the precise, consecrated location where God is poised to do His most profound work. And this leads to the confrontation that changes everything, the one most people are not truly ready for, but that you are ready for because you have stayed this long, listening with an open heart. The reason the breakthrough has felt delayed is not because God is withholding it from you, as if He delights in your struggle. It is not because the enemy is stronger or more cunning than your fervent prayers. It is because there is one thing, one subtle yet incredibly powerful agreement, still alive and functioning within your spirit, that is standing at the very threshold, preventing you from fully crossing over into your promised land. And that agreement is this: deep beneath the surface of your conscious faith, beneath your declarations, beneath your genuine heartfelt desire for radical change and restoration, there is a part of you that has decided you already know precisely what that restoration must look like. You have cultivated a meticulously detailed picture in your mind. It has a specific shape. It has a familiar face. It adheres to a strict timeline, and without consciously realizing it, you have been evaluating every incoming blessing, every open door, every new connection against that predetermined picture, and quietly, almost imperceptibly, rejecting or sidelining everything that doesn't perfectly match your internal blueprint. That, my beloved, is not faith. That is a deeply held wish, dressed up in the language of faith, but ultimately rooted in human control and limited imagination. Real faith does not hold a rigid picture of how God must move. Real faith holds an unwavering grip on the promise itself, and then says with open hands and an expectant heart, However you choose to bring it, Lord, in whatever form, through whatever means, I will recognize you in it. Remember the children of Israel. They walked past their deliverance for 40 years in the wilderness. Not because God didn't provide for them daily. He sent manna from heaven, water from a rock, a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. But they kept measuring God's miraculous provision against the fading memory of Egypt, yearning for the flesh pots and the familiar, even if it meant slavery. Don't measure your glorious, unprecedented miracle against your limited memory or against the broken patterns of your past. And here, right here, is the unexpected reversal, the stunning turn of perspective that I promised you, the final key to unlocking your season. The very thing that has been your deepest wound in this season, the thing you have mourned the most, prayed about with the greatest intensity, cried over in the desolate 3 a.m. hours, feeling its raw ache in the quiet of your soul. That, my dear one, is not what the enemy stole from you. That, in God's divine and often paradoxical wisdom, is precisely what God used to mark you for your destiny. Because the profound depth of your longing for that specific thing, that relationship, that purpose, that healing, reveals the immense depth of the purpose God has imprinted upon your very being. You do not ache that deeply, with such consuming intensity, for something that was never truly meant for you. You ache for it because it is real, because it exists in the spiritual realm, because it is already fully formed in the spirit and is now, in this very moment, making its way into the natural, tangible reality of your life. The very intensity of your desire, that relentless yearning, is not just an emotion. It is, in itself, a living, breathing prophecy. Heaven does not place deep, unyielding longings in the hearts of his chosen ones for things that will never come to pass. He places them there as an internal compass, a divine homing beacon, precisely pointing toward what he has already ordained for you, powerfully drawing you toward what he has already prepared with meticulous care. Your longing, therefore, is not your wound. Your longing is your sacred, undeniable map. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me, letting each word resonate with conviction deep within your spirit. I release every false picture I have built of what my blessing must look like, dismantling the idols of my own limited imagination and embracing the boundless creative power of the divine. I release every agreement I have made with fear, with delay, with the insidious lie that my silence, my waiting, or my struggles have in any way disqualified me from God's best. I declare that my stillness was not stagnation, but divine positioning, and my waiting was not wasted. It was working, actively forging my character and preparing my path. I open my hands to receive what I have not yet even imagined, from directions I have not yet considered, through people I have not yet met, trusting in God's infinite creativity. I declare that every perceived vacancy in my life is not an emptiness, but a prepared, sacred space, and I trust the one who created that space to fill it with exactly what belongs there, perfectly suited for my destiny. I am not behind. I am not forgotten by heaven. I am not disqualified from my divine inheritance. I am the one the promise is moving toward, and I will not move out of the path of my own arrival, but will stand firm in expectation. I step forward into this season with open hands, a clear, expectant heart, and the unshakable knowing that what is coming for me cannot be stopped, cannot be rerouted by any earthly force, and will not be delayed one more day beyond the appointed sovereign moment. I am ready. I receive it now, and I walk into it without fear, but with unwavering faith and profound gratitude. If this message confirmed something your spirit already knew, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, allowing its truth to ignite hope in another heart. And drop a comment below. Tell me what you are receiving in this season, even if you can only name one powerful word of it, a single whispered revelation. Your declaration in this comment section is not small. It is a potent seed, planted in faith, watered by conviction. And seeds planted in faith, especially in such fertile ground, grow in ways that defy every delay, every setback, and every limitation you have ever experienced.